Now it's time for a question from the audience.
Hello, Chani and the Chani team. Such a huge fan of your app and your writing and your podcast and everything that you do. I was wondering if you could speak in depth on the eighth house. I am a Virgo rising with my chart ruler Mercury retrograde at 5 degrees Aries and my sun at 7 degrees Aries. So I'm experiencing a ton of major transits through my eighth house right now. There
Yikes.
appears to be a lot of disagreement on what it represents and why it represents what it represents. And also, people talking about transits in this house, things can get kind of scary. So I'd love if you could talk in depth about what this house means and signifies. Thank you so much.
Yeah, astrologers love to argue about our craft and how it all works and what means what and who is right and who is wrong. But this is how I look at it. In traditional astrology, the ascendant is life. And so if the ascendant is found in the first house, which it is, the first house is the place of you and your life energy and being alive. So we want to see what houses are in relationship with the first house and which ones aren't by traditional aspect. So by sextile, which houses are connected to the first house, by trine, by square, by opposition, and obviously by conjunction. So these are the houses that are not in traditional relationship, meaning they are said to not be able to witness. They cannot see you. The 12th house, because it's right beside the first, so it's right here. It just can't see. It's right outside of my peripheral vision. The 12th house, the second house, although that's the least bad of the quote unquote bad houses, hard houses, the second. So the second and 12th hug the first house. And if you go directly opposite, the 6th and the 8th are in indirect relationship with you, with the first house. So there's no traditional aspect to it. So that's traditional astrology. And that's why the 12th, 6th, and 8th house especially, and to some degree the second house, are all said to be difficult houses. Now, you can have a million planets in all these houses, and that's your whole chart, and it doesn't mean you're doomed at all. But because the first house is you, those houses that aren't configured to you, you have a harder time accessing them. So the 8th house in particular is associated with death, which sounds awful. So if I have my sun and ruler of my ascendant in the 8th house of death, what does that mean? Well, on one hand, it could mean that you're somebody who's very adept at helping people through massive transitions that either are or feel like a type of death or loss or grief. You could be a grief doula. You could literally be a death doula. You could be an abortion doula. You could be somebody who does things that feel like really on the edge of life or death. This is also a place where a lot of people that have placements here might be very open to, very aware of spirits that have crossed over. So maybe you talk to dead people. I don't know. I've definitely seen that with my clients. They are able to be like, oh yeah, your grandmother's here. It's like a nothing for them. And then the 8th house is also, because it's about grief and loss, it's also about mental health and what mental health is. So a lot of people here are incredible trauma-informed fill in the blank. Facilitators, counselors, therapists, even people that are on set, anything that is about being trauma-informed or understanding trauma, especially if Mercury is there and Mercury is the ruler of your ascendant, there's a way in which exploring the human condition becomes so important and so valuable in your writing, in your teaching, in your talking, in your way of moving through the world. Mercury is the translator. Mercury is the informer. Mercury is the one who's going to bring the message. But Mercury is also the part of us that teaches because we need to learn, that says because we're trying to memorize, that writes because we're trying to understand. Mercury is always two things. And so if you have Mercury in the 8th house, you're maybe wanting to learn about and then write about or talk about and listen to things about what causes mental anguish. Why do we suffer? What is grief? What is loss? Like, what is trauma? And anybody who's written a book on it, or anybody who's done their own self-exploration about their own grief process, maybe had a transit going through the 8th, there has an important placement there, but there's something there that's really key. Now, aside from all of that, 8th house is also about other people's money. So I know a lot of people that have really important things in the 8th house, like Sun, ruler of the ascendant, who are incredible accountants, managers, collaborators. People with things in the 8th house are like, oh, that's your talent. I know what to do with that. Come here. Let me show you. I'm going to plug you into this thing and with this people, and we're going to make tons of money out of this. Like, people with 8th house placements know how to support or be in connection with or be in collaboration with other people's talents, resources, etc. Like, incredible managers have this kind of placement or have a placement like that. And there's an appreciation for everything that is outside of public view because it's a hidden house. So the mysterious realms of grief and loss and trauma and healing from those conditions, or healing despite those, like understanding that realm of being. There's a mysterious quality here that's like psychologically what happens, spiritually what happens after we die. Where do we go? Where does the energy go? What is this life? Like, it's an existential kind of crisis that we find in the 8th house, but we all have an 8th house. So if you have planets there, I'm wondering, that's my question, are any of those themes prominent in your life, and how do they show up? And when you move into them, when you work with them, and you stop trying to push away from grief or loss or, any of that hard stuff, what happens? When you do collaborate with people, what happens? When you do work with others in a way that's like assisting them to find their purpose and live out their dream, do you feel like you're in yours? And you're going to say yes to some of this and no to other parts. I'm just trying to give like a variety of what I've really come across with my clients and with students that I've worked with. So the 8th house is like a glorious place, and people in my family have very important 8th house placements. Generally, you're very sensitive, very, very, very sensitive to what hurts, to pain, to trauma, to loss, to other people's pain, trauma, loss. It's like, what are you picking up on? And because it's Mercury, you're going to be like translating that. But you also have this caller has the sun exalted in Aries. So you're going to be triumphant in this place in some way, or there's going to be a desire to be triumphant. And the sun is the exalted ruler of Aries. So there is a power there. So you also have a light in the dark, and you're a power in a dark or hard place. So again, depends on where everything else is, but I hope that helps. But it's also about our ancestry. It's about inheritances. And so what are you inheriting? Who has blessed you with something? Mostly it's about like physical inheritances, but I think we can stretch it to something greater, especially if we're talking about being connected with folks that have passed on, being connected with family members that have passed on. And I also know, like I mentioned Tourmaline's book earlier about Marsha P. Johnson, that like she's in connection with Marsha. There's like this beyond just being in the body connection. And that's part of what the 8th house also brings us. So you might be somebody who's deeply like plugged in to somebody who was an artist, activist, important teacher, guide, somebody who lived before that is no longer in the body, but is very much alive in spirit. And you might be somebody that's translating that kind of information. We never know how, the 8th house is going to fully live out and help us express ourselves, because it is mysterious, because it is the place where we encounter life and death and the transition between being in the body and leaving, or people being in the body and leaving. And like, what happens to their energy? What happens to their wisdom? What happens to their creative spirit? What happens to their creative energy once they've left the body? That can't die. where does it go? Maybe you're somebody who, like taps into it and is able to express it. Not that I'm saying that's what you should do, but some people with 8th house placements do that, or that is a way in which we can function in the 8th house. But definitely like healing in a psychological way might be some part of what you write about, or something that when you write, you help yourself heal and find your way through whatever it is you're working through, and you're working your way around, and you're working to understand. And that as you learn it, you also need to give it out, write it, teach it, talk about it, etc.